Good day, everybody. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for taking time today to attend the Developer Days online session. This is the Automation Developer Days, and this session is about who is Crosswork Cloud, how do I use in my Crosswork deployments, and allow me to introduce myself. I am Randolph Tsien, Product Manager for Crosswork Cloud, and today's date is December 5th, 2023, and we're going to take you through a journey to see who is Crosswork Cloud first, and then how do I use Crosswork Cloud to be deployed and integrated with Crosswork Cloud on-premise deployments. Okay, great. So first things first, we want to talk about terminology, and then if you're watching the slide carefully, maybe an exam later, we're going to have take a test. But anyway, so BGP, Border Gateway Protocol, ASN, Autonomous System Numbers, prefixes, block of IP addresses, zero trust, spy movie stuff, hardware and software integrity checking, and KGVs, known good values, and also NetFlow, network traffic, ingress traffic, egress traffic, north-south traffic. These are some of the terminologies we will frequently use in this presentation today. So just do a quick review. And also, great, once you know those terminology, why is Crosswork Cloud important? Why does it matter? Because now in the digital economy and everybody, because of the pandemic, has started to work from home, and network is a resource. Availability is very, very important. And many times things happen because of human error. And then how do you track these issues? And then sometimes there may be congestions and other issues that you have. And also for zero trust networks, how do you do secure boot? How do you do KGVs? How do you do continuous audit? Because a lot of times customers will do one network audit a year on that one day. What do you do with the other 364 days? Also, but BGP security, is that really important? Well, guess what? Everybody has homeowners insurance, health insurance, car insurance. Network insurance is important. So BGP security is very important because there are hijack events that made it to the big news and customers lose money. And of course, if the network is not properly managed and set up, uh, sometimes the traffic can be black hole. And when things are unpredicted, that happens. And how do you get a timely response? Those are all very important. And because of budget constraints and what have you, network security and network analytics. How do you find automation tools that can do more things for you? And Crosswork Cloud is a solution that crosses multiple architectures. Network automation, analytics. That's one. Another one is security. How do you make sure the network security is there? And then the third one is great. And this is a SaaS solution. What kind of benefits do I get with SaaS? It's very easy to deploy. It's DIY. It's outside of a network. So if you suffer a network event, and the system still continues to chug along so that you can get the notification endpoints. So let's dive in a little bit deeper and then see what kind of things that we can talk about. But let's talk about the digital economy first. So digital economy, digital presence, great. Hello, anybody there? Is it reachable? And what's going on? Is it secure? These are things that's top of mind for everybody. Whenever the network doesn't work, people will call support, or sometimes they just need to reboot the computer because it's down. But any network outage is very, very noticeable, very, very quickly for everybody because they may be doing web conferences, they may be checking emails or checking other things, or even for main entertainment or even gaming for that matter. So these things are top of mind for everybody. So in the digital presence, what is the most important infrastructure? It's the network, right? So when you have a network event, people usually ask, "Hey, what happened?" I don't know. And why it happened? Ah, how do I go into the logs and do some forensic analysis? And then what is the business impact for large service providers? They may lose customers and they migrate to their competitors and then have some brand tarnishment. And then also other things is they take time to recover. And in the unlikely event of these things happen because of human error and malicious bad actors making them happen, how do you fix it quickly so you can minimize that? Because things happen by accident, by whatnot, but you want to find a quick way to resolve those issues. So these are all very top of mind for everybody who is in this realm. So this is what brings Crosswork Cloud to mind, because that is what we try to do. We try to reduce the MTTX, right? That to identify, to know, and to fix. We don't do the fixing, but we have ways that we can work with the Crosswork on-premise solutions to make that happen, or other third-party solutions that you can do. But we're focusing on the on-premise today. We want to reduce the time to identify, to know, and then provide some expertise to help people say, hey, here are the actionable intelligence. This is how you can go about solving these issues so that you minimize the customer frustration and then also reduce the impact on the business and move on to the next thing to solve. So this is what we do. We reduce the mean time to identify, know, and repair. And that's what we do: real-time visibility, actionable events, and automated validation. Okay, so let's give everybody a quick overview of what the Crosswork portfolio is. And inside the Crosswork portfolio, we have two categories of solutions. You have on the right-hand side in the blue box, Crosswork on-premise. I think these are the solutions that people know very well. These are traditional OSS, operational support systems, NMS, network management systems, or EMS, element management systems. And then on the left-hand side, in the green box, that is Crosswork Cloud, a SaaS solution. I think these are younger and newer solutions, so not people are not as aware. And then there are three solutions in there that covers the external part of the network, it covers the edge part of the network, and also covers the security parts of the network. This is helping the internal network, which Crosswork on-premise covers, to complement each other and make the solutions work. The solutions exist in one or the other. It's not that there's an online version of a certain feature that is also available in SaaS. These are completely separate, but we complement each other quite a bit. And many customers have integrated the two sides together using notification endpoints or even REST API or gRPC telemetry to make things work. Some of the other things that's more interesting is because Crosswork Cloud, this is one of the predicated things that people have to have is they have to have an active autonomous system number, and then within each autonomous system number, they have to have some prefixes. And so there's about 80,000 such entities on the internet today, and that is the addressable space. You can see in the big circle underneath. Crosswork Cloud spans the customer base from service provider to cloud providers, governments, enterprises, commercials, education, data centers. It covers everything outside of people's network. How does the world see you when you're on the internet? And the three solutions, if I may jump in a little bit more, is Crosswork Cloud. We have three solutions, right? It's network insights. This is how the world sees you, and that this is about BGP analytics and also BGP monitoring, BGP security. And then the second solution, this is traffic analysis. It's a NetFlow solution. We also support IP fix. And this NetFlow solution is only focused on the edge part of the network. So think of internet gateways. So we do the top talkers and we do pairing analysis. We can do peer prospecting, and then we can also do some edge optimization. NetFlow is a very crowded space, but we only focus on one special parts of that. And then the third solution is Trust Insights. This is a proprietary solution. This is only focused on Cisco gear, and namely the XR7 boxes. So this is about hardware integrity and software KGVs, and also doing continuous auditing. The three solutions: Trust Insights is proprietary. Traffic analysis, this is a multi-vendor solution. The predecessor of this is through an acquisition. And then Network Insights, this is an open system because it's protocol-based. This also came through a third-party acquisition called BGP Mon, and that's still in use today, but we're looking to retire that system, and we still have tens of thousands of users on that system. Out of all these three solutions, they can work, they can be purchased independently, they can work independently, and then if you buy one plus one, two solutions or more together, some pre-integrated capabilities will be exposed. And out of these three solutions, Network Insights is the easiest to deploy because Network Insights, we have our own data collection network collecting the internet routing table on a near real-time basis, and then massage that and then generate anomalies and send out in notifications. So for people to use Network Insights, they just send a PO to Cisco, and then Cisco sends a license key. And with the Chrome or Firefox browser, using Express setup, they can be up and running in minutes. So that's the easiest to do, no headaches and what have you. And then between traffic analysis and Trust Insights, we have something called a CDG, Crosswork Data Gateway, that is installed on the customer premise to collect information. And then once the information is summarized, we send it up into the Crosswork Cloud platform for traffic analysis or Trust Insights. For traffic analysis, right, the CDG, which runs on VMware, OpenStack, and AWS 3. We will this and the CDG is a cost-free item. You can install as many as you need to cover the entire perimeter, collecting NetFlow information on the edge part of the network. We collect BGP information, we collect SNMP information, and NetFlow slash IP fix. And that's how we do. The CDG, if you go into the manual, is rated at 1 million flows per second. So it's a very robust system and supporting up to 100 devices. Trust Insights, it also leverages the same CDG to collect information that is related to hardware integrity, software KGVs, KGV as in known good values, and also to performing audits, and of course other capabilities such as secure boot and TPM, TAM. Those things are all covered in the Trust Insights solution portfolio. The CDG also is used by the Crosswork on-premise solution on the right-hand side, but it's exact same software, but during the installation steps, you have to designate whether it's an on-prem deployment or a Crosswork Cloud deployment, and they do not share, so these have to be independently deployed. So I hope that gives you a quick overview of what the solutions can do on the Crosswork portfolio side of things. And then at the end of the presentation, we're going to talk about how Crosswork Cloud can work in your Crosswork on-premise deployments, and then some of the very exciting use cases that we can have. But before we're doing that, let's go in to jump in a little bit deeper into the Crosswork Cloud side of things. Okay, so why do we have two sets of solutions? Because one of the biggest things that we try to do is the closed loop automation. That's the circle right in the middle, transforming operations, and then that involves the Crosswork on-prem solution plus the Crosswork Cloud solution. Made the circle on the right-hand side a little bit bigger so that you can see that. So this one increases customers' agility and reduces strain. So this is the best of both worlds and really help the customers in accomplishing a closed loop automation. Not just automate, but have a closed loop so that you can go full circle in that sense. This is a little bit of a busier slide, but Crosswork Cloud, in case anybody ever asks you, what does Crosswork Cloud do? End-to-end network visibility and security, or end-to-end network security and visibility, depending on if you're more on the NOC side or on the SOC side. And then the three solutions are all running in the cloud. And we want to share with you over here is there are three main interfaces that Crosswork Cloud can be used to for interfacing. The first one is the GUI. You use that to come in and log in and set up and configure, and you set it, forget it, so to speak. And then when you have incidents on the network, you will come in here for troubleshooting or doing forensic analysis. Because network insights, depending on the tier that you're using, we keep history for up to 90 days. And then traffic analysis, for the same purpose, we keep history on the NetFlow information up to 90 days. And then Trust Insights, we keep information up to 365 days. So this is one way to access the solution is through the GUI. The second way to access the solution is because Crosswork Cloud is an analytics system, we detect anomalies and then we have different policies. We can set up alarms and notifications. So these alarms and notifications, depending on tier, starts with email, SMS. Those are the most basic ones that people use. And then if you're into chat ops, we support Slack and PagerDuty, WebEx Teams, and Microsoft Teams. Some people think that's not enough, and they like to do syslog, so the information can be pumped into AWS 3 or Google Storage. So that's another way people use the solution, using the notification endpoints. And many times, these information is sent into a data lake to be picked up by the in-house big data analytics solution, or picked up by some commercial software that's like the Splunks and ServiceNows. And then the third way to access the solution is to REST API and gRPC APIs. And this is how a lot of times people want to completely automate the system, where they set up the rules that way, they collect the information that way, and make it work. And this is one of the ways that you can use Crosswork Cloud to integrate with the Crosswork on-premise solution. And of course, Crosswork Cloud plays in the automation space. We also play in the security space. These same APIs and notification endpoints can be working with some of the other Cisco security-based solutions, and that will be for a different topic for a different day. Maybe you can attend maybe some of the Cisco live sessions sometime in the future. Also, we like to talk about ABCs at Cisco. It's always big closing, always by Cisco. And then Crosswork Cloud, of course, we have an ABC version of our own. A for AS monitoring, right? This is for BGP. And then B for board and netflow analytics, right? Board and netflow analytics, this is on the edge of the network. And then C is compliance for iOS XR7 gear. These are the 64-bit boxes like the NCS 540, NCS 5500, ASR 9K, and AK devices. Okay, great. Excellent. I hope this is very clear. And then we're going to go move on a little bit to touch on some of these use cases that people do to address the first slide that we're talking about. So network insights, BGP security. These are usually by network operations, people in the backbone or peering management group. Route leaks, this is human error. It can happen on the customer side or people you do business with. So these are a lot of human errors. And then, of course, you have malicious events where ASN and prefix hijacks. Those are the two top use cases. And if you're in the network operations side, you probably go look at looking glasses quite often. You have to open up different browsers and check up information. So this is time consuming if you have to open up different browsers to figure out. Within Crosswork Cloud Network Insights, we have hundreds of these. So again, you can go in there and have a look see, and it's in one single pane of glass. And of course, peer monitoring and alarms. You want to make sure that your connectivity is up. You want to monitor those things, see if there's any hiccup. So these are the top use cases for Crosswork Cloud Network Insights, right? Network Insights, the predecessor is BGP-Mon. We have rebuilt the solution from the ground up, so it's very robust. The feature sets and capabilities are very, very good. Okay, and then the second solution inside Crosswork Cloud, traffic analysis. This is edge net flow. The top use cases is top talkers. Top talkers based on ASN, based on prefixes, based on devices, and also interfaces. We keep track of logs of up to 90 days. We display up to 7 days of history and statistics, the P95s, the average ratio, transmit, receive, all those information. And of course, peering prospecting, traffic engineering, even setting up threshold alerts. Hey, am I getting some traffic coming in from blacklisted sites? Am I getting traffic? Oh, what does my history on DDoS look like? We track the traffic. We record everything. Where did it, which AS, which prefix did it come from? Which was the destination, device, and also interfaces. We have different kinds of thresholds and alarms that we can do. And then the third solution, Trust Insights. So router zero trust. That's very interesting. I think there was a PC Magazine article that talks about some outfits selling $1 billion worth of counterfeit routing gear. So a lot of times people want to avoid things. They want to make sure these boxes are great, and there are large companies who send networking gear to locations that's not very safe, not is infested with a lot of backdackers. When they get the box back and they want to redeploy it, they put it in a sandbox for a while to make sure everything's all good. But other things that Trust Insights is very good at doing is secure boot and TPM. In Cisco terminology, we call it TAM, Trust Anchor Module. And then, of course, you're tracking the OS and software. On the OS and software, we verify the hash values or KGVs during the download. We verify it during the installation. Okay, great. Life is good, right? No, it's not good yet. We do continuous audits and updates just to make sure that software hasn't been tampered with and the hash value is good. If there's a hash value change, then we'll raise an alert and alarm and send it out, and then you can see what's going on. And then we do this on a continuous basis. So that's one of the differentiators. Doing a network secure audit, that's great. But how do you make sure every day is running the same way? This is especially important for people in the financial, banking, trading houses space to make sure the network infrastructure is safe and sound. And also people who sell government contracts. Oh, great. If you sell it to the military, they have to make sure all those information is kept safe and secure. They can do a secure slice of the network. And then sometimes people use this to track hardware devices like SFP modules. Those are quite expensive, and somebody may swipe that out and put in a cheaper one. Oh, there's an event. And of course, there are healthcare utilities, people who need a very secure network infrastructure. This is the way to go. Trust Insights really works hand in hand very closely with iOS XR7 routers. Cisco is the leader in this space, and we're the only game in town today. And if you need a secure network, this is the way to go. And Trust Insights is the management that makes your life easy. And then on the bottom, we have some other use cases you can see. So you can let your imagination run wild. We can satisfy a lot more capabilities in here by combining all three solutions, or just use one. Pick and choose what you would like to use. Okay, so let's jump in a little bit deeper on Crosswork Cloud Network Insights. The predecessor is BGP-Mon. If you're familiar with that, this should be very easy for you to comprehend. Okay, great. Want to share some historical events, right? Some of these are not necessarily BGP events. I think the one over here is a Meta. They suffered a prefix withdrawal, so they went out, even though the network internally is all working fine. But we can also use network insights to monitor networks, because sometimes when they have big events happening on the presence on the internet, the prefix withdrawal and prefix annulments, the network just starts thrashing. And because the network is unstable, having a SaaS solution that giving out alerts, this is going to be very helpful for you to go about addressing these issues. So just using this, not trying to pick on these service providers, but these are people who have recent events. And of course, this is not only limited to service providers. Crosswork Cloud's customer base, 25% are in the service provider, the other 75% are in the non-service provider. But they are all some kind of service provider because their presence is important. So when I refer to 25% service provider, those are telco or communication service providers. Not only that, out of all the customers that we have, most customers, 95 of them, at least have Crosswork Cloud Network Insights. We have the tier one service providers like AT&T, British Telecom, Deutsche Telekom, Telstra, you name it, and then also the hyperscalers like Amazon, Microsoft, and and Google and others, and of course, so you can name names of who's in the list as some of the customers that we have. Okay, so let's jump in. So why is Crosswork Cloud Network Insights important? Because BGP is sometimes people try to make political statements, sometimes geopolitical conflicts. This is getting more and more. BGP used to work on an honor system, and now the honor system, sometimes people abuse it, and nation states try to siphon traffic from the internet to have a look, see what's going on. And there are governments like the UK government, they have a Telecoms Security Act. They have to make sure the network is safe and sound. Some other governments will say, yes, you're not supposed to deploy certain vendors' equipment gear because of security concerns. And others, if you have any security incidents that happens, you have to report it within six hours. And many other rules. So a lot of places, people are picking up different rules to have these things announced. We Looking Glass, I mentioned a little bit earlier. We have BGP Looking Glass, so that you can see how your prefix or ASN is perceived around the world. And this is very important because a lot of times when you have a bad actor event, they usually last less than 7 minutes. And so this is why we bring to Network Insights. We collect near real-time BGP updates from around the world, and that is very important. And I'm going to show you some use cases later on. Well, great. You detect these events. What do you do next? Maybe you get a notification, and then you have to go find somebody to take care of these for you. So a lot of times we can automate this and then leverage the capabilities on the Crosswork on-prem side to address those things. And sometimes those events may not be very impacting, and that's why we keep BGP update logs up to 90 days, right? There are a lot of free services on the internet today. They give you rolling 24 hours of updates. And then also, their events are 15 minutes delayed. The event has already passed and gone. So Crosswork Cloud, real-time network updates, BGP updates, and then we keep track of that 90 days so that you can go back and do some forensic analysis to find out what happened, because you know what happened, but you want to find out what happened. And also peering alarms, you can see on the right-hand side. Sometimes you have to go in and figure out, hey, was that a global event somebody did to me, or is this a local event? I like to use this example. Randolph went into a bathroom, came out, and it's got a piece of toilet paper stuck on his shoe. Okay, well, that's a local event because Randolph did it himself. It may be as intended or it was by mistake. But then maybe my friends sometimes like to say, oh, Randolph, we're going to play a practical joke on him. So they Photoshop me with a piece of toilet paper on my shoe. So that may be a global event. Using some peering alarms in the lower right-hand black box, now you can really cut down your troubleshooting time, because if it's local, hey, is this your intention? If it is, then don't worry about it. And then if it's global, then, oh, there's some work to be done because you got to contact the offending party and then do some other mitigation steps on your side to do that. And then we'll show you some of the cases towards the end of the presentation. Okay, great. And how do those things get implemented within Crosswork Cloud? You can see the traditional hijack detection and route leak detection, and some of the features and capabilities that you can see screenshots on the AS path topology. These are available in the Advantage and Premier tiers. And then, of course, the BGP updates, so you can see many times people are surprised. Oh yeah, we had a network incident. Oh, that was a network maintenance event. So this is a good way to see what happened on the network because of due to regular maintenance. So you can see, depending on the tier, we have 1 day, 7 days, or 90 days. Depending on the days, you can go back and look at history. And of course, forensic route analysis, right? This is where you can use the GUI and go in and have a look see on what is happening on an nitty-gritty pace to help you make your life easier. All right, great. So this one is why people use Crosswork Cloud Network Insights, because we BGP Mon used to be the 800-pound gorilla, and then we're still very, very strong in that space. And combine that with internet, Cisco's internet capabilities and expertise, we continue to be the leader in this space. We have more than 600 sensors around the internet. The number is much higher than that, but that's what we're sticking the story with. And this one is just jumping a little bit deeper on how do you use the peering alarms? Is the issue a global one? Is that issue a local one? So this just jumps in a little bit deeper. And one of the requirements to use the peering alarm is you want to become a BGP peer with Crosswork Cloud Network Insights. This way we can do the detection and then help you get on your merry way when some event happens, and then use leveraging some of the Crosswork on-prem solutions to help you address those issues. Okay, great. Let's summarize a little bit on Crosswork Cloud. How is that configured, right? If you look at this slide, everything is additive going upwards. On the left-hand side, you have network insights, and then traffic analysis and trust insights. Those are much easier to configure, but we're going to talk about network insights first. In network insights, we have three tiers: the essentials tier, the advantage, and the premier tier. And the way we price out the solution is number of prefixes. This is not the prefix that you think, oh yeah, I got a bunch of /22, I have 1,000 of them. It's what is registered at ARIN, what is registered at RIPE, or which is registered at APNIC or other internet registries that you have. And then we get that number, and then that's how the solution is priced, based on number of prefixes. Number of users, we don't count that. As long as somebody who has a CCO login, they can be added into the Crosswork Cloud tenancy. And then we use the Cisco CCO as the authentication mechanism. And the term for the solution is usually, depending on the customer, 12 to 60 months. Most people do 36 months. We have seen customers who do 120 months, and then people who do 12 months. But most majority of them is 36 to 60 months. And then the history I mentioned a little bit earlier, right? It's essentials tier is 1 day history, so rolling 24 hours. The advantage tier is rolling 7 days, and then premier tier is 90 days. And the two big buckets that's coming up, right? If you're in the essentials tier, you have the basic alarms and you have the basic endpoints. The basic endpoints include the email, SMS. And then on the essentials tier, you have access to single sign-on. You also have access to the APIs. Yeah, great, but you don't get the technical support. To get technical support, then you need, for single sign-on and API, you need to go at least advantage tier or the premier tier. And then advantage and premier tier, they also have the premium alarms and then also premium endpoints, right? The premium endpoints are like the AWS 3, GCP, Microsoft Teams, PagerDuty, Slack channels, WebEx Teams, and so on. So that's what it is. And a lot of times people come back, hey, Randolph, what's the difference between Advantage and Premier? The difference, if I may point that out, is history retention. Advantage there does 7 days, and Premier there does 90 days. So that's the only difference between the different tiers within Network Insights. So just to summarize, that give you an idea of how Network Insights is configured. It's fairly straightforward. It's very easy to do. You just have to, the hard part, I think most people figure out, do I want to look at history for 7 days? Do I need the fancy alarms? Or do I want to do 90 days for convenience for troubleshooting forensic? Because I need to automate this and I want to keep track of everything. I want to do as much as possible to minimize my outages. And then let's take a look at the traffic analysis side. This is on the right-hand side middle. And how do these solutions get configured? A lot of times people go, oh yeah, a router has 500 gigs of throughput. I need to buy a 1,000 gig license. Well, that's not how traffic analysis works. Because traffic analysis, we monitor internet gateway net flow traffic, so the edge of the network. So if the router only has two 100 gig licenses, we just need to buy the 350 gig. And we don't count how many flows you have. It's just whatever the internet gateway bandwidth is on a per router basis. So if you have the next router that's running at 40 gigs, you need to buy a 40 gigs on internet bandwidth. then you buy a 100 gig license. So we have customers, seeing a lot of customers adopting a lot of these 100 gig bandwidth on a per router basis. So that's what they do, and that's how we count up, and then just figure out how long the license should be. It's a 12. Most customers will do 12, 36 months, and majority of them at 36 months. Okay, so that's what traffic analysis licensing does, right? Traffic analysis, just to share again, it's tracking top talkers based on ASN prefix, devices, and interfaces, peering, and then SLAs and the threshold alerts, and then traffic engineering and optimizing of the edge network. And then the third component, the trust insights, just to do a quick one, this is even easier, right? Besides configure out how long you need the license for, hey, I got a bunch of iOS XR7 routers. That's NCS 540, the NCS 5500, ASR 9K, and also 8,000 devices. Just count them up. That's it. And then go and work with your account managers and systems architects to figure this out. And of course, we're here to help you too. So contact us if you like to. Okay, great. So let's go into the second component of the Crosswork Cloud solution, traffic analysis. This is the edge NetFlow solution that we talked about, right? So I think this is an interesting slide. Nobody ever said this, but I'll just let you read through the text. We may have a test on this one, but this is a very interesting photo. But this happens, right? So what can we do? What does traffic analysis do for me? Okay, traffic analysis at cloud scale. Top talkers, right? Based on ASN prefixes, devices, and interfaces. We track denial of service, right? People can black hole your traffic um, because your ROAS expired, your RPSL is not working properly, whatever reason, and then tracking DDoS traffic. We're not a DDoS monitoring solution, but we can track it. So maybe in a way, it's a poor man's DDoS solution. Oh, the traffic reaches 60%. Okay, I want an alert, but we're not a DDoS solution, but we can track it. Peer prospecting. How do you go about finding out, hey, where do I find my next peering or transit provider? Do I want to base it on price? Do I want to base it on performance? Do I want to base it on because of I do business in certain parts of the region and this service provider one is better than service provider two in these XYZ aspects? So that's what we do. And of course, tracking um, locations, prefixes or ASNs that has malware traffic, whatever. So tracking these and then edge optimization. How do I balance my traffic? If I'm an eyeball network, for example, or just an enterprise network, I have a bunch of internet gateways. I want them all running at 60%, but one of them is running at 90%. Okay, well, let me see if I can share the load so that everybody is down at lower than 60%. Okay, just to talk about a little bit, right? So traffic analysis uses the Crosswork Data Gateway. You can install as many as you like, and then each are running rated at 1 million flows per second. You can support up to 100 devices, and we run on VMware, OpenStack, AWS S3. And then as the data gateway, we will, for network and for traffic analysis, we collect NetFlow, BGP, SNMP information. Of course, IP fix too, and then multi-vendor solution. All right, cool. Let's go through some screenshots over here and see where we're going. Crosswork Cloud, right? BGP and NetFlow use cases, SLA monitoring. Just hey, did you look at the left hand side? What happened to the traffic? It just went to kind of nothing. Oh wait, upon closer inspection, that's Saturday and Sunday, so nobody's going through. Nobody's at work. That's why this is some email traffic that's on the Cisco and Cisco solution. So this is a great way to do some SLA monitoring. As an enterprise, as a downstream service provider, can use this to check if the upstream service providers are delivering what they have. This way, you have a historical record for up to 90 days. In traffic analysis, we just do 90 days and 7 days of display for that matter. And of course, critical flow alerting. Well, you may have some business customers or you have some mission critical places that you want to track. You can drill down a little bit deeper, looking at different use cases using device and interface, and then see how much traffic is going through that particular device. We can look at prefixes and drill in deeper to see if the network is the issue, because network and application usually point at itself. If it's not on your side of the network, you can point the finger outside of your company to make things happen and corrective. So these are a lot of use cases people use and find very good value for. It's a very well-designed solution, so it can give you a lot of value by just deploying it. And traffic engineering use cases. We talked about BGP before from Network Insights. When the topology of your upstream providers change, that's going to impact your traffic on the edge of the network. So how do you go about doing that? Traffic analysis as a peering management solution, we can go in there and upload all the net flow traffic and understand where the traffic is coming and going, and then do recommendations. Oh, this interface is running a little hot. I want to move some prefixes to reduce the congestion on this particular router. The recommendations come out. You can, by choice, do it manually to implement those, or you can use something like a network service orchestrator to automation, and we'll show you how that can be accomplished. Or you can send this through a REST API so other systems can come in and do that. This is how you can optimize based on the edge. But then when you optimize on the edge, it may cause some traffic pattern shifts on the insides of the network. Okay, great. Maybe the traffic analysis can collect all the traffic matrix information on the edge of the network and run some simulation planning. This is just an idea so people can see, so that you can optimize your network, so that you can do whatever analysis, worst case scenario, so that if the edge network suffers some events, the insides of the network doesn't. And oftentimes people go, great, well, I want to optimize my network. Do I optimize it by BGP? Do I optimize it on the edge of the network? Do I manage optimize it based on the insides of the network? It just really depends on what your priorities are, and figure out your business engineering or even other priorities and requirements to make that happen. Everybody's mileage is different. Okay, great. We mentioned a little bit about D and DOS and DDoS, denial of service, right? You want to track some of these things. So this is just another use case where you can deploy the triple play, we call it, right? Network insights, traffic analysis, and trust insights. Looking at BGP DOS event tracking, because if you got DOS, meaning somebody blackoutting your traffic, all of a sudden it went to zero. So you can use um, BGP to and network insights to trap that. And then also, if you subscribe to a DDoS cloud scrubber, because then you have to withdraw the prefix, re-announce it somewhere else, and then that's a BGP event. And then when the DDoS subsides, you want to revert back. You do another withdrawal, do another re-announce. So these are all events that network insights track. From a traffic analysis perspective, they will track. Hey, when did the attack start to happen? Where did it come from? What was the destination? And then if it gets so bad, you said, "Oh, I don't care what kind of event it is. I want to do some alarms if my interface is running at 75.9%." Just do it. And then many times when you have these malicious events, Trust Insights can help, because the DDoS attack or other times forms of attack is just a distraction. What they're trying to do is trying to trying to hack into some other device, and then you want to log those things, and then if it happens to be in one of those XR7 routers, we have a way to make sure that everything's tracked. If there's an extra file thing, because I like to use myself, Randolph was on the box, and then we try to put some scripts in there doing the installation and deployment implementation, and then forgot to remove the scripts, some Python scripts, but sometimes a script can, somebody can invoke it and do a lot of damage unintentionally. So Trust Insights can help you check the software, and then also making sure there are no extra files, or you have some software that's running on there that is not sure if it's being KGB verified on good values. So those are the different things that we can do. And then if people really want to do DDoS, then you can go look at some of the boxes like the NCS 540 that can do DDoS using some Edge Protect, that can do the detection and mitigation. But those are to protect that particular internet connection. If you get a volumetric one, you probably have to swing into the skull. I just thought that we mentioned that. Okay, great. So that's a quick overview of Crosswork Cloud traffic analysis. Let's jump into the Crosswork Trust Insights, right? The two solutions before, network insights and traffic analysis. Many times people use the two solutions together for peering management purposes, because one, you see the outside of the network, the other one, you see the edge of the network, and then the combination of the two, because those are the best of breeds that can really make your peering management and hum. And then now we can focus on the security aspects of the network, right? It's network visibility and security. So trust insights. Let's have a look, see what we have to do. Supply chain stuff. How do you verify the equipment you're using is genuine? How do you make sure the software on there is done? I think in here, this I used the CC cleaner on my computer before, and somebody hacked into the QA stuff, and then every single software that's shipped was infected. Oops, that's a bad one. Sorry, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but Trust Insights is there for a reason because you want to make sure that you have the right SOP, standard operating procedure, you have the right hardware, software, and then also the right management tools to make sure that zero trust of the network so that you can run a zero trust network, a security slice of the network. You can do continuous audit because of your customers' requirements. Okay, so what does Crosswork Trust Insights do? We do iOS XR7 deployments. These are the 64 architectures, the NCS 540, NCS 5500, ASR 9K, and 9K devices. And doing hardware integrity checking, right? There's a TPM TAM chip, a Trust Anchor module, that has an XR509 certificate embedded on a chip. And then we can do the tracking and verification, and then compliance reporting. And then for inventory purposes, people go, yeah, there are plenty of inventory systems, but guess what? Trust Insights can be feeding information as a source of truth for the security aspects for that particular piece of equipment. Because other inventory systems, they cannot come in and look at this. Trust Insights is not a security, it's not an inventory system. Just saying that the Trust Insights security verification can be sent into inventory systems on a timely and regular basis so that people can do that. And trust and integrity source of truth, right? And this is a Cisco solution that's been in development for many years, even including Crosswork Cloud. We have a Cisco Cloud security development lifecycle so that the software is built with security in mind. That's why we are a security solution. We didn't put security onwards afterwards so that it just bolted on and then worry about a lot of things. So from a trustworthy system, Trust Insights helps make sure the hardware is genuine, the software is good, and also we maintain everything in runtime, and also gives them manageability and troubleshooting forensic analysis if need be, just to track things that had happened. Um, uh, and then this is tracking for up to 365 days. So that's a lot. And then send out alerts, and you can use APIs to do various different things. Okay, just to do a quick GUI view of this, right? Security capabilities and software reporting, reporting and audit, and forensic analysis. These are the three major areas for the Trust Insights software so that you can come in and look. We should have network insights, traffic analysis, and trust insights all on demo cloud by the time that network automation developer days is in session, so that people can go in there and play with a solution to your heart's content. All three solutions, network insights, traffic analysis, and trust insights, available on D Cloud. And pick the region that you have, and then go in and have a look see at the solution, and then you can go and look see at the APIs if you want to do some development work, which we're going to have some use cases later, and that's going to be the game changer. Okay, great. So this is one of the customers' use cases for Trust Insights, right? They have a government contract. They use Trust Insights to do a secure slice of the network so that they can show the customers that they can do continuous audit. They have compliance on all the requirements just to make sure everything is done right. And not only can they ensure the network is integrity is verified, but they also, if they update and do any software upgrades, they can verify through a we are the quote unquote third party to verify that software changes had happened and other things. And then if there's any equipment change, somebody pulled out an interface card, um, and so on and so forth. There's numerous capabilities that you will find useful if you have iOS XR7 router gear. That is Cisco's proprietary system, but it's the only game in town, and it's a game changer. Okay, and then from the operations point of view, yeah, if you want everything on XR7 to be managed, you can of course go through the API, but you have to maintain the software. With Trust Insights, we manage it for you because iOS XR has hundreds of thousands of modules that you can do. It's humanly impossible to keep track of that. And then with Trust Insights, you can do it in one single point of place and single source of truth and self-serve, and then you can send out notifications if any event should happen, and so on. Okay, great. I hope that's not too much information. Let's go into something that is on everybody's mind. Who is Crosswork Cloud? Now we know who is Crosswork Cloud. Well, let's go find out what can I do with Crosswork Cloud in my existing deployment. what does Crosswork Cloud from an external network management, visibility analytics, and the edge part of the network can do with me, and then also enhance my security of my network. And how does this interact with a lot of the other new things that's running in the Crosswork portfolio? Um, okay, here we go. So, and these use cases is going to be based on Crosswork Cloud three solutions: the network insights, the traffic analysis, and trust insights. And then show you some of the use cases. And I think as we're recording on this, some of the product as from the Crosswork on-prem is not announced yet. So when that is announced, you'll see this in there. So Crosswork Cloud Network Insights. How does the Crosswork Cloud Network Insights work with Crosswork on-prem? In this particular case, through the notification events and also REST and gRPC APIs, we work with network controller, Crosswork network controller, Crosswork NSO, network service orchestrator, and also CWM, Crosswork workflow manager. And some of the use cases, we have four of them, sample ones. I think we also have some teams that can build some sample code to make this happen. So the first use case is great. Somebody is announcing some bad, erroneous prefixes and ASNs that belong to, let's say, for example, Google, Netflix, or Amazon streaming services, and you want to stop that quickly because you don't want to propagate that. Usually, when you propagate some erroneous announcements, that is when people use that to hack and attack from the bad actors. So this happens maybe 5 to 7 minutes. How do you address this? Through automation. So using Crosswork Cloud Network Insights, it generates these alarms, and then once the alarm is generated, it's sent into Crosswork Workflow Manager. Crosswork Workflow Manager, you can build some router automation kits and then put in some logic and rules as to follow the logic, and then from there go into Crosswork Network Controller or NSO, and then the in this case the erroneous propagation is terminated. Use case number two, same thing. Right? So this is your own ASN or prefix that got hijacked. You get the same alarm, but not because you know this is internal. So within the same router automation kit that you can build, be it in-house or be it some value-added reseller or some other system integration teams who want to get into the business of building OSS and building NSO, building CNC deployments for customization, because those solutions, there's a lot of customization that can be done to it. You can do the same thing similar to case number one. You go into Crosswork workflow manager and then build some logic in there, and then they'll spit out something. Hey, use CNC and NSO to announce something. For example, if it's an AS origin alarm, you can announce something that's more specific, /24, and then something more specific is /25. There's a lot of stuff that you can talk in more detail. This is just some idea slides, and we have demonstrated some of these in the past. And then route leak detection and managing ROA signing infrastructure. These are some of the other use cases. So the goal over here is, if you have Crosswork on-premise solution already, great. And then you want to leverage the Crosswork Cloud analytics. By leveraging these use cases, now the two sides, the green box, Crosswork Cloud, the blue box, Crosswork on-premise, they become integrated together so that you can automate the whole entire process, because these BGP events last less than 7 minutes, and they can quickly address these issues right away with automation, and not just automation, closed loop automation within the Crosswork Cloud, within the Crosswork portfolio universe. Okay, so on the right hand side, some remediation workflow development in CWM. I think it is safe to say that will be the router automation kit, and more to come on that one. So this is how some of the use cases that we can do with network insights. Let's have a look, see what kind of use cases we can do with Crosswork Cloud traffic analysis. So now we're doing Crosswork Cloud traffic analysis use cases with Crosswork on-premise. And in this case, we're still working with network controller, still working with workflow manager, and also still working with NSO. But the use cases are different now. These are more NetFlow related. So for example, use case number one, traffic congestion remediation. Okay, a certain threshold is reached, the events happen, and then now with Crosswork Workflow manager, you put in some logic like the router automation kit. You put it in there, or just design your own, and then send it out. And then the whatever the results and the action needs to be, the SOP, send it over to CNC/NSO, and then you have a new router configuration to move the congestion. For example, this could be, hey, one of the interfaces is running hot, and then one of the prefixes is carrying the bulk of that hot traffic. And then if you move that, if you move that, if you re-announce that prefix on a different router, the router's not going to run that hot anymore. So that's one of the use cases. It really depends on the business logic and the requirements on a customer by customer basis. And traffic optimization, and so on, traffic matrix, and even traffic anomaly alerts. If you, as mentioned a little bit earlier, we have blacklisted traffic that you don't want to have, but if you do have, then you can go through Crosswork Workflow Manager and figure out what you want to do, and then change that, maybe put on some access control list so that you can block all this traffic, and many other use cases. Number three over here, right? You can see traffic matrix, internet gateway traffic collection, send it into Way, and then Crosswork Workflow Manager, and then use that with CNC and NSO to provision some new metrics for the network. But that there's an asterisk. That's an idea one, but most of the other ones, people have find it they want to do automation, and that's the process that can go about doing that. So maybe for the future, you can even build up some use cases working the two sides. The combo of network insights plus traffic analysis, giving you more specific use cases in peering management and whatnot, and working with the CNCs, the workflow managers, and NSOs to make your network behave as you want it, and do it in a very speedy way. Okay, great. So let's go and have a look, see what Trust Insights can do in this scenario, right? Trust Insights in the green box, and then on the blue box you have Network Controller, NSO, Workflow Manager, and also EPNM. Interesting. Right. So let's go have a look. See, I think the press release probably announced already. The router automation kit is one of the things that's working on top of, or working with, the workflow manager. And the top three use cases there are already built, and these are some of the samples. And Trust Insights can be integrated in that, so that when some people do an OS upgrade, that's a software event in Trust Insights, and then this can be sent to the Crosswork Workflow Manager, and then CNC updating and confirming the security with the security information. So this is how we can do confirmation, so that it's a third party, or third party do the verification. So this way you know exactly, and then we have a log of it. And then also configuration update, unsanctioned files, and these are another events they can do. And then the third one, this is a big customer request, a zero touch provisioning. They say, okay, great. I got more routers to deploy, and they didn't know, and I want to use Trust Insights to monitor this device, and I don't want to touch anything. Can CNC, CWM, and NSO help me get some of those things done? So with this zero touch provisioning, there's a new device deployed in the network, and then through Workflow Manager, great. They said, hey, Trust Insights, go add this new router in the monitoring space. I'm going to go through the API, and then work it. And that's how the devices are automatically added in there. And then the fourth use case is, because we are the security source of truth for the network hardware integrity checking, the KGBs and whatnot, CNC, NSO, EPNM can query the Trust Insights API, some of them to be built, to see the security information that they have, because we are a security solution from the ground up, so we can verify the security integrity of the boxes and do continuous audit. Okay, great. I think for now, that is the three solutions. And just want to give you some key takeaways. Crosswork Cloud, right? We are a security solution, we are an automation solution, we are also a SaaS solution. And these are some of the use cases that we have. And want to thank you for taking time today. And then I give you some time to see if you have any questions. And also, if you need more information, you can come to crosswork.cisco.com. In here, you'll see some videos for each of the solution, and also data sheets. And then if you if you miss BGP Mon, you can come in here and then have a stroll, because that's going to be deprecated sometime in the near future. And with that, In case you have any questions, sales questions that you have, or just anything as an inquiry, you can send an email to crosswork-cloud-sales@cisco.com. And thank you very much for that. And with that, I'm gonna stop. And thank you very much for attending the session today. And talk to you soon. Thank you very much.